every day and night.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Podcast. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard. That's Leonard. It looks French. It's not. It's Leonard without an O. Thank you for tuning in. As Graham Norton used to say on his show, let's get on with the show. Joining me today is Marat Welker, like Marat, but with an A in there. Marat Welker, Welker, and of course, in post, I will put the scrawl at the bottom. She is joining me today to talk about the Why Me mindset, which is in January, season 1, episode, I wrote it down, 134. I had on Richard Lynch again. He did a cover of Chris Christopherson's song, Why Me, Lord, which was like, why me, Lord? Why am I getting these blessings I don't think I deserve? You mean it. We're here to talk about more the other way, the ugh, why me, Lord? Why does this bad stuff keep happening, right?
Right.
So the tone and inflection matters.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, it's something that I'm a professional at. I spent 20 or 30 years stuck in why me mentality, and it only brought misery.
Yeah, I was on X getting ready for the show, and I happened to mention it on X, and I tagged Grok on it. So Grok provided some statistics. The Why Me Mindset episode, here's a few verified stats. A 2019 systematic review found imposter syndrome, which is usually involved, but not always. Prevalence ranges 9 to 82%, often higher in ethnic minorities and professionals. PMC link, I don't know who that is, but also being quoted as the National Library of Medicine. 2025 meta-analysis, 62% in health providers, Springer.com. So a lot of people deal with this, apparently.
I think nearly everyone on the earth does. It's our natural survival instinct. It's how we process things when things don't go our way. And when you can learn to, this is not something you naturally discover on your own at all. It is a taught philosophy. But once you learn this and begin to live this, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
I spent so many years feeling sorry for myself for all of the things that had gone wrong in my life and all of the things that were unfair to me. Abuses, bullying, perceived problems. They weren't even real problems, but in my mind they were. And all of them were against me. And I'll tell you, it's a terrible way to live.
Well, I think it's part of human condition, human nature, human psychology. And once you get kind of caught up in it, it snowballs itself. And I think it's a little different. It can be the same as victimhood mentality, but that's where you're constantly in the refusal to admit anything could even remotely be your own doing or not, versus why me, Lord, is almost just it's accidentally, but why does it keep happening to me? That to me is a little different than the victimhood mentality.
Right. I'm actually not familiar with the Why Me Lord song. Somehow I missed that one. And I didn't come in thinking in terms of why me, Lord. I came in thinking of just the natural propensity to think of ourselves first and wonder why these things are happening. And yes, in prayer, but also in all of our mindset. And I think that that's something that is something that is taught to us by society and social media, and it becomes part of our identity as well. I mean, I'm guessing from your shirt that you're probably leaning towards conservative politically.
Yeah, biblical based, constitutionalist, trademarked, created
Great.
Christian biblical community versus worldly communism. There is a big difference. I root things in biblical reality and truth and the whole Bible in full context. So yes, I am a person of the right based on my Christian faith and Jesus's teaching versus Marxist teaching.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. How much of that filters into your identity?
Oh, I would certainly say a lot of that does. Absolutely. And I think faith, some would say faith is a crutch, but I think having the
They're just the
faith,
ones without faith.
yeah. I think faith helps one to understand that bad things sometimes happen to good people. This is a fallen world. It's not, the world isn't out to get you. It's just the way it is. God has given all free will, and some choose evil to do to
Right.
others as part of their. So it's not necessarily you. You are not necessarily a target, and faith can help you get out of that hole and overcome it. I would imagine it's harder without faith.
Oh, definitely. But yes, but
Guess it depends on the person.
I think philosophy can help get there. But for me, having my faith and being based on faith and centering my life on my faith in Jesus Christ, or trying to, I feel like that gives me the strength I need to make it actually happen. But here's where I'm going with this. The identity that you have as a Christitutionalist and a more conservative and faith-based person is based on that. Now, what if a Democrat came along and they were agnostic? They aren't sure about the whole religion thing. Okay, where would their identity lie? It wouldn't be the same as yours. But our identity is something that is the driving force behind what we do. It is so crucial. It is foundational for how we live our lives. I've found that people who are more soft in the definition of their identity are sometimes more malleable and ready to move forward in new directions. But those who are hard and firm set in their, I am a,
which could be left or right. It could be either.
No, I don't mean even political. How about I'm LGBT, or my daughter is LGBT, or my I don't know, just any kind of identity. I'm white. Okay, I'm of German and English ancestry, about 90% English, I think. But what happens is, British. But what happens is that if I am a genealogist, and if that's how I see myself, then the decisions I make are framed through that perspective. And social media only makes this stronger. Oh my goodness, does it make it stronger?
Makes it worse. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the more that we are diving deep into social media, diving deep into our identity, the stronger this bias becomes, because that identity is going to shape how we see the world. It's going to shape who we are. It's going to shape our decisions. It will shape our understanding of the world around us. It's like putting on a pair of glasses. Sorry, they're not on my head after all. I reached for them. Like putting on your glasses and discovering they're very dirty. Well, if they're very dirty, it comes on very gradually, and you may not notice that they're dirty until you take them off and put them back on again clean, or put them back on again and notice how dirty they are. I think the same thing happens for the world that we live in where we are going to be finding ourselves biased, but that doesn't mean badly biased. It just means it's slightly distorted. Each of us has a different prescription through our glasses of how we see the world. And a huge portion of that lands on our identity. Now, how does this tie back into victim mindset and the why me? Well, I think that Disney might be the root of all evil. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding there. But
let it go, let it go.
No, I'm kidding. I have wonderful memories of going to Disney World and watching Disney movies with my children. But what I didn't realize I was teaching them, growing up on the beautiful shows that I watched as a child with my parents, and we built great memories around, was that if you are going to have your difficult time, then afterwards, Prince Charming is going to come along, sweep you off your feet to the castle, and you will live happily ever after. Well, only Cinderella got that right. If you are familiar with the Cinderella version of a Disney version of Cinderella, in it you'll find that Cinderella had some tough circumstances. She lost her mother, then she lost her father, and then she was stuck with an evil stepmother who then enslaved her, and she became free labor. She wasn't treated respectfully, and she wasn't protected physically. She was up in the cold, drafty attic. This takes place in France, conceptually, and so it's not going to be warm in the winter in that attic. But here's the thing about Cinderella that's different from all the others. Cinderella sang while she worked. Cinderella spoke respectfully to her mother-in-law. Cinderella was able to deal with the stepsisters and give them their space. Cinderella took care of the animals. Cinderella complained now and then, but she kept going in her circumstances.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're all entitled to whine and moan once in a while, yes.
Once in a while, but don't get stuck there. And if that happens, it's hard to evict. I can tell you that from past experience. But by having these habits in place, Cinderella made do with what she had. She had no one. So she played with mice. Ew. But that being said, she made the best of her circumstances. Now, bad things happened, and she was able to come through and marry the prince. Would the stepsisters have been happy if they had married the prince?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every life is a story. Some just end too soon. Ryan's life unfolds through words on paper, dreams of youth, love discovered, and the challenges of growing up. He found purpose in love, joy in family, and meaning in every small moment. But even the strongest hearts can break, and sometimes life takes unexpected turns. Through laughter and loss, Ryan leaves behind something greater than memories, a lasting legacy. A short story, A Lasting Legacy, by Joseph M. Leonard. A moving reflection on life, love, and the stories we leave behind. Available on Amazon in ebook, paperback, and hardcover editions. By Joseph M. Leonard.
Probably not, because they were miserable SOBs to begin with. And yes,
that's right.
You're pointing out a very important part of the whole overall moral of the story. And it goes back to, I speak to Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror song all the time, right? You've got to start with you. Someone else can't make you happy if you're not happy at all with yourself.
Right. Well, here's another thing to keep in mind on this concept is that with Cinderella's circumstance, when she married when she married the prince, she had very meddling in-laws. I mean, her father-in-law, oh, piece of work, right? She had jealous courtiers, unhappy constituents, and children. Life wasn't easier. It was different. Now, that's where we go wrong. She lived happily ever after because she knew how to live happy, not because of the prince and not because of the circumstances. What we forget.
It helped, but correct.
Well, love
again.
always helps.
Yeah.
But we're not complete unless we're complete as individuals. And that's not
Absolutely.
our spouse's job. There's the cure for most divorces. Not most, many divorces. Our spouse is not responsible for our happiness. We are. So that's something that when we talk about this victim mentality, what's so important to understand is that you can take out the words "to me" from your entire vocabulary and live a happier life just doing that. Here's how. Oh, this horrible thing happened to me this morning. I was ... And then I can say, oh, this horrible thing happened this morning ... And what's the difference? The difference is how you process it afterwards. Because if it happened to you, then you are the victim. And if it happened to you, then something's out to get you and you're the victim. But that removes your power to act. That removes your ability
Or
to
it
make
gives you an
decisions and step forward.
excuse. It gives you an excuse to not bother to act.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And if that's built into our identity, and if that's built into social media, and what we grew up on is the happily ever after mentality, well, happily ever after doesn't exist. Happier ever after does. And that is what I teach. That is where my efforts lie at this time, because so many people are suffering needlessly. And by removing those two words, to me, suddenly you have women who are not only able to make choices. I'm sorry, I work with women, so I said that women. You have people who are able to make their choices for themselves. They don't react to anything. There is no it's just acting. Okay, so something terrible happened to me this morning, I can say. And then I say, and this is how I acted in response, or this is how I chose to act. What that does is it shifts us from victim mentality, and it takes away our excuse, and it gives us power and authority to go ahead and live our lives. That autonomy is incredible. What we do with that autonomy, that is where I come in. That is what I coach.
My last couple of books, my last one, Complicated, just came out January of 2026, deals in that to a degree also. We don't have a choice how people act towards us, but we do have a choice in how we respond back. Exactly
Right.
what you're saying. And also, you said it perfectly. Happier ever after. There's no such thing as happily ever after, because we're living in a fallen world. Happily ever after assumes there is perfection that can be achieved on this planet. And that's a fool's errand. There is no such thing as perfect here. We want to succeed as best we can to the next life where wonderful can and does exist.
Right. Well, one thing, Jesus commanded us to be perfect. But I don't think he means to be, I mean, translations vary on the meaning and the power of that. It can also mean finished. And the commandments he has just given us prior to that are pretty intense ones. But it also reminds us that we can't be perfect on our own. You know, you see all those signs that say, you're good enough, you are enough. Well, we're not. We live in a fallen world. None of us is enough. It is only through Jesus Christ that any of us can even breathe. It is
Yeah.
only through God that we've been created, and we can be perfect in Jesus Christ. We can be perfect through him. And so for me, we live in a fallen world.
We are all human, frail, flawed, imperfect. We will keep falling down. But the
That's
point
right.
being, we need to strive for better. Strive.
Exactly.
We're not going to achieve perfect, but want to try to be perfect. That's why I hate to bring politics in, but Melania's Be Best thing. That to me is a wonderful thing. Be the best you can be. And again, it goes back to Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, or Rick Springfield's prayer. I send a prayer to heaven for the chance to be a better man than the man I see. You have to want to strive for better, not the why me excuse to not bother.
And that right there, that's where it comes back to identity. Because as we are looking at the impact of social media, of influencers, of where we are spending our time and our energy, it's addicting. And it gives you those dopamine hits. So it's a lot of fun. Don't ask how I know, but it's addicting. But I'll tell you something. It's powerful if you use it for good, and it's powerful if you don't. And it will use you. And you can get lost, and it will take your doubt, your feelings of victimhood, and expand them and expound on them until you deserve everything. And one of the biggest trends lately on social media has been using trauma language and severe trauma language to describe normal situations. You hear about toxic people and removing yourself from toxic people in your life. Well, what is a toxic person? I would say, somebody who has sexually abused you, maybe. Somebody who has beaten you physically. Yeah. But what about an imperfect parent who's trying?
Yeah, mental
but
abuse.
Complains
helicopter parents may be good intention, but in a way that's overboard also. It can be a problem also. So you're right. There needs to be a bit of a balance and an understanding of what's going on. But a lot of it, again, it all goes back to me, to us being able to self-reflect or not. What role are we playing in these bad things that may happen to us? And again, bad things happen to good people all the time. May or not be partly your fault, and it not because you're cursed. It's just the way the world is. But do we want to... all my Life and Living series books are that, at least striving to want to be better. You have to want to try to be better.
Right. Okay, so you keep coming back to the, I just want to build off it, but I can't remember the word. Oh, I love being 60.
Yeah, I turned 63 this year, so I know what you mean.
I just turned 59, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I have a train of thought, but I'm at the shipyard waiting on a plane, right? Yeah, it don't work.
That's beautiful. I had 10 concussions in 3 years.
Oh, that don't help.
That's when you have a word that you just can't find. It's on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't get it. But later it comes back to you. Not this time. What would happen is things would go and I couldn't find them again, ever. The end. I knew they weren't coming back, but that was okay. I just had to learn to live that way. And it was called a traumatic brain injury at one point. And I had to go through 3 months of mild traumatic brain injury. I had to go through 3 months of therapy, which helped substantially. But the habits have continued, and I did a deep dive study into neurology and psychology. Oh my goodness. Became obsessed with it for years. And it was so, so helpful. And I wish all Christians, no, I wish everyone, but especially Christians, would look into this, because there's so much truth out there and available, so much wisdom, and it can help guide and push your life into the direction that will be help you to be the best Christian you can be, and the best person and the happiest person you can be. Oh, I remembered what it was.
Oh. Go ahead.
Okay. The thing that has me concerned is when people say a bad thing happened to me, right? What about when bad things are happening to good people and we complain? We were commanded to be thankful in all things, right? And I think that that is one of the other key components to happiness, because when we recognize that the challenges that are come our way can be our biggest blessings, that's when we can begin to truly grow and step into ourselves. God teaches us through challenges. God communicates with us through challenges. We give him a great big long shopping list. And do you know what he gives us? Challenges. We don't want challenges. But what does he say? He says that he will chastise those that he loves. So some of us are loved more than others. I believe that. Not that we're loved more, but that we are chastised more. Yet we all have our struggles, and probably the same degree for each individual, if they are willing to embrace them. They can avoid, they can seek their pleasure in their short-term happiness, but to really become their best selves, they need to take it to the next level. And that means be willing to commit and to go all in and to embrace those challenges and ask every single time, God, what do you want me to learn from this?
You said a lot of things, and I started making notes. Iron sharpens iron. If you've
Right.
had nothing bad, the bad things a lot of times, like bullying. I had Bullseye the Clown on my show a few years ago. Yeah, he became Bullseye the Clown as a result of bullying, and deals with bullying and the lessons of bullying. Well, you know what? If he hadn't been bullied, he wouldn't be the person he is today.
Right.
And in fact, in the book of Kennedy, Project Carpe Diem book, I talk about Natasha being a bully to deflect from herself and her shortcomings growing up. Well, Kennedy becomes a better person because of it, because you don't want to be like that bad example. So sometimes the bad things help mold us into being better people. Yes. And it brings to mind the Asia song, Days Like These, or like Longfellow, I go into in my books. Every life a little rain, literal and figurative, must fall. It helps shape your character. Days Like These by Asia is about days like these, I feel like I could change the world. And anyway, I love the rain, right? Let it rain. It's actually making me stronger.
Right.
Again, not choosing.
All of my greatest blessings have come because of trials.
It again goes back to choosing how we act back to that which is presented to us? Do we shrivel and play the victim card? The oh, woe is me, why me? The excuse to not attempt to make things better.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Joseph M. Leonard, host of Constitutionals, taking a brief moment to thank myarchic.com. Together, we share the Christian and family value of honoring family. myarchic.com helps you do that. Preserving family memories online also, therefore, can be shared online. Think of myarchic like a Noah's Ark for images, audio, video, preserving, honoring your family. Thank you again to the folks over at myarchic.com.
Well, and here's the thing. You can be a real victim, okay? If something terrible happened to me this morning and I say something terrible happened this morning, it still happened. If I remove to me, that doesn't mean it didn't happen to me. All right. Let's pretend I've been assaulted.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it means
I was still assaulted. It's how
Yeah.
I'm interpreting that action. And here's the thing is there are populations, subpopulations, social groups, etc., who have more difficulty with this because that's how they have been raised from the time they were babies. It's true. Do they have problems? Yes. Are they fair? No. Does that mean
life
that
isn't fair? Yes.
No. I mean, what I mean is they've been in really unfair circumstances. Okay, that not even remotely close. And I recognize and acknowledge that, but they can still break out of it if they lose the portion of the identity that has the why me. They still belong in that group. They still are part of that experience. They still are very much there, but they can find power and strength in capturing their own personal identity, not as I am from this background or that, but in I am a daughter of God who is in this background and that, instead of just keeping your identity, I am a Christian, it's I am a daughter of God. If you put that first, and that's truly in your heart, boom, that's going to open so many, it's going to empower you on so many levels. What I do for my work is I teach Christian women who have teen children up through, 70 or whatever, who are going through that stage called becoming an empty nester, who are about to go through it, who have gone through it and haven't fully recovered. And people think, well, what now? And you've lost your identity. Who am I now? I was a mom. I don't care if you're CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You are still a mom first because that's where your heart is. That's why you do all the other stuff. And so when your children suddenly not only leave home, but don't want to return calls or don't want you calling them every day. I mean, I taught you to go to the bathroom. I fed you. I that, or the other, all of this your entire life. And now suddenly I want to hear like what you had for breakfast.
You might not be as dependent on me anymore, but I still kind of am dependent on you.
That's right, because that's where my joy comes from.
Yeah. And back
Excuse me,
to
it's
your
getting dark.
Oh, okay. Your to
No, I'm
me.
just turning a light on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Your to me part. Again, back to the victimhood. The perpetual victimhood part is where the problem is. Just because it happened to me doesn't mean it might not have happened to someone else. The trap is that, gee, it only ever seems to happen to me. That's where the big trap is, I think. Yes?
I'm not sure. I think that I think it just, to some degree, it comes down to we are human beings and we are selfish creatures by nature in order to survive. The end. Okay. If there's a grizzly running us down, you know what? I'm going to run faster than you. Do you know why I know that? I don't. But that's kind of our desire is to be safe, to protect ourselves, etc. And so we think about ourselves first. Now that's not something that Jesus wants us to do, and that is a way to living really unhappy. But it is what we do naturally.
Part
Our
of our
biology is
nature.
programmed this way.
Yes. Yeah.
Our biology has to be programmed this way for the
To
survival of the
survive.
species.
Yes.
However, that being said, it's also the root of unhappiness. And so it's finding our spirit overcoming our biology, our mental plan, psychology, and being able to remove the to me. It still happened.
Yeah.
It's still a problem. It is. I'm not saying.
But
it
again,
can be a part of my identity.
it wasn't only
make
you these things are happening to. It's not
Right.
only you. And that's the problem. The only me. That's
I don't agree.
the selfishness.
I don't agree in that part because here's the thing. There can be, as I said, whole populations who've experienced bad things together. And that helps unite them. And their community may still be focusing on that. Now, if that's the case, guess what? That doesn't diminish what really did happen to them. Nor does it diminish that it happened to the whole population of them and to them as individuals. That's still true. What does it do? It says, okay, well, what am I going to focus on then? And I think it's more about the focus than the individual versus community.
I think you kind of proved my point. It happened to a bunch of people. If you're focusing on the only you're losing sight of that broader picture. And the psychology thing is
not what I'm saying.
Human nature. Again, God gave us free will, and our human nature and that psychology evolved from that free will.
I guess what I'm saying, let's say that you are a survivor of the Nazis. Okay. What did you go through? You were in a prison camp and you survived. Now, you're in a club of a very small club. That makes you a survivor. You have been through trauma that's unheard of, untold trauma, and you have a group of small people. That doesn't make it any more or less about you to be in a community. I don't think that has anything to do with it. And I don't think it's about who you focus on.
No, I'm saying I think that's the trap. I think I really do. We have a difference of opinion here.
But here's what I'm saying. I don't think it's that. I think it's the identity. Because if your identity is, I am a victim of the Nazis, and that is your identity.
Yeah, but you weren't the only one.
And the world keeps teaching you that. Then you can grow weaker and weaker as a community, as individuals, and as a community, in that we are victims, we deserve XYZ. Now, I'm not saying that happened or should happen. That's just my example.
I think we are closer than we are apart in this.
Okay. But I don't, what I'm trying to lay out is that there are communities that are making it worse because they are, as a community, making it about me, making them victims, if that makes sense. That's what I'm trying to focus on, is that there are communities that make it worse because they teach you to be a victim and they support you in that. And then as a community, they are a victim.
That's a collective mindset, and that's a whole other discussion.
Right. But what I'm saying is when we base our identity on that collective mindset, then it pulls us down, and it's a very heavy force.
Yeah.
So that's why what I want to say is be careful how you see yourself. Analyze how you see yourself. Take steps to see
that mirror thing again. You need to be able to look in the mirror and judge yourself. Remove the log from thine own eye. We are to judge biblically, including
Right.
ourselves. We must
Exactly.
self-reflect. And boy, time has flown. We could talk for 3 days on all this. So let's wrap it up. Do you have a closing
I didn't
thought?
finish
Go
telling
ahead.
you. Yeah, I didn't finish telling you what it is I do. And that is I work with these women to help them become their best selves. I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, I'm a trainer, I'm also a speaker. But I work with these women in order to help them become empowered Christian women. That's my whole program, is the Empowered Christian Woman, where it's all based on science and habit and the Bible. And it's a beautiful program to help them to learn that strength I speak about, that ability to be disconnected from the world, and the skills for living happier ever after, and then walking them through finding their new purpose and guiding them towards their next mission in life, because life is just beginning.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women get stuck at that stage, and I work with all women. But my emphasis right now is just on helping those empty nesters to really find what it is that they're supposed to, that God's calling them to be now.
Well, wrapping things up again, I think we are closer together than we are apart here. And again,
right,
not to plug my book again, but I am. Life is complicated. This is all complicated stuff. It's not simple. It's not easy. There aren't easy answers here normally, but we have to self-reflect. And like the plane, it loses cabin pressure, the masks come down. You are to put on your own mask first. You have to help yourself before you're able to help others, or you're one of the ones grasping for breath on the floor, unable to help yourself or anyone else. Do you have a website for folks to find you?
Yes. My website is maratwelker.com. And on there, I have a 3-day challenge brochure that's free for people to download and give it a try. I think that there's a lot of women out there who can use this, and it can really make a difference in their lives. Men as well could, but it's, everything's pink. So
hey, I used to wear pink ties. I had a salmon colored shirt. Real men have no problem with pink.
Agreed. No, I want to help women get happier, and there's a 3 days happier challenge there if they want to come check out maratwelker.com.
Great. Thank you, Mark. It's like, Marat, right. I'm glad I got it wrong, actually. It's like Marat, but with an A in there, Marat. Marat Welker, thank you for coming on. It was a great discussion. Again, like with a lot of my guests, we could talk for 3 days, but then it would be too long. Nobody will watch it. So
right.
Take care.
God bless you.
Take care. God bless. Love you. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Thank you for having tuned into another Constitutionalist podcast show. I really appreciate that you stopped by. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We need you to help spread the Constitutionalist movement. Thank you again. Take care. God bless. Love you all.
Every day and night, believes in freedom and making his voice heard, sharing his message over all the earth. God loves you, those things are all you do. Stand strong and God